money. And of course, we've then had to pay for that in the form of higher taxes. For example, business rates going up for small businesses, or employers' national insurance, which ends up getting passed on to workers in the form of lower wages. Labour and Starmer lied during the election campaign when they promised there were going to be no extra taxes. There are loads of extra taxes to fund all these.
Already drowning under sky-high taxes? Brace yourself, because what Keir Starmer has planned will make today's taxes feel like pocket change. After betraying the people who trusted him, Starmer has crowned himself Prime Minister for the unions, rewarding strikes with hefty pay rises while ordinary Brits foot the bill. And the nightmare isn't over. Behind closed doors, Starmer is plotting yet another taxpayer-funded giveaway. So who gets richer while Britain gets poorer? In this video, let's find out. Warnings of a merry-go-round of public sector pay disputes aren't observations. They're a preview of how Starmer plans to rule, letting Britain sink into endless strikes and hostage politics. This isn't incompetence. It's strategy. Starmer has no plan to fix Britain. He surrenders to unions because, without constant chaos, his hollow leadership would collapse instantly. Britain won't be governed under Starmer. It will be permanently extorted, every sector weaponized, every worker trapped.
Morning, Mike. Well, that's right. We haven't. Labour already last summer gave massive inflation-busting pay rises to their trade union overlords without any sort of performance improvement in return, including that massive 10 grand pay rise for train drivers who already earn 60 or 70 odd thousand pounds a year, in some cases for a 4-day week. So they've already given out loads of extra money. And of course, we've then had to pay for that in the form of higher taxes. For example, business rates going up for small businesses, or employers' national insurance, which ends up getting passed on to workers in the form of lower wages. Labour and Starmer lied during the election campaign when they promised there were going to be no extra taxes. There are loads of extra taxes to fund all these massive pay rises, amongst other things. And that's before you even get to the possibility of further inflation-busting pay rises in the future, which only get paid for one way. They get paid for by everyone else coughing up higher taxes. And there is no question Labour have already lied before the election by saying that.
Chris Philp reminds us Labour already handed out huge, inflation-busting pay rises without reform. And the damage is clear. £10,000 increases for train drivers on 4-day weeks isn't policy, it's bribery. Starmer traded Britain's future for a short-term election boost. Reports show that since taking office, he's been approving pay rises worth £8 million a day. He raided the public purse to appease union bosses who delivered votes, while ordinary taxpayers, who work hard and ask for nothing, were stuck with the bill. Starmer's government wasn't earned. It was bought using the oldest trick in politics, taking from the many to reward the few. Yet during the campaign, he promised the opposite. And this isn't new. Starmer has done it before.
Choice to have tax cuts for those that are earning hundreds of thousands of pounds is the right choice when our economy is struggling.
Reeves's £40 billion tax hike is the biggest daylight robbery in modern British history. Every promise to protect working people is a vile lie when the real plan is to tax workers into oblivion while shielding Labour's cronies. He once promised no new taxes, then betrayed that pledge outright.
So we've got to go out there, each and every one of us, and make the case for change, show that we're hungry for change. Decline is not inevitable. The cost of living crisis is not inevitable. Sticking plaster politics is not inevitable. There are choices to be made. We would choose to put 13,000 neighbourhood police on the beat, keeping us safe. Thousands more doctors and nurses trained so our NHS is fit for the future. A real cost of living plan that will help people with their prices, help them to get through and raise their living standards. There are choices on tax as well. We need to revive our high streets by cutting our business rates. And we need to be clear about council tax. Labour would freeze council tax next year using that windfall tax that hasn't been collected.
The NHS is just a human shield. The real scheme is simple. Drain more from ordinary Britons to keep Labour's paymasters in silk suits and champagne dinners. While pretending it's about healing the country, they're bleeding it dry. Before we continue, Are you enjoying the video? If yes, please like, share, and subscribe for more exclusive off-script coverage. Let's continue. Chris Philp has now revealed what Starmer is preparing next.
And to make all of that even worse, Labour are also ramming a new law through Parliament that basically undoes all of the laws that Margaret Thatcher passed in the 1980s, making it harder to go on strike. So now, with this new law, Angela Rayner's new law passes, it'll be much easier for militant trade unions to go on strike.
Yeah.
It'll make it much harder for employers in the public and private sector to resist that. So we're going to see a load more strikes as well as a result of Labour's.
Repealing Thatcher's strike laws is Starmer's final gift to Britain's wreckers. It's open season on the public. Under this regime, militant unions will be free to shut down hospitals, schools, and transport at will, with nothing the government, employers, or the public can do. Starmer isn't neutral. He's the getaway driver. He's legalized economic exploitation against the very people who trusted him. And he will always side with strikers over the sick child awaiting surgery, the worker who needs a bus, or the family waiting for groceries.
On the front page of the Mail today, they've got a story about the quangos. And I mean, I must admit, whenever anybody talks about a bonfire of the quangos, they always seem to sort of increase by a factor of 10. And I think you guys had problems with them as well. But for Labour, at least 350 bosses earn more than the Prime Minister. Hundreds of fat cat public officials still employed by public bodies, somehow taking home over £100,000 a year. I mean, we don't need most of these bodies, do we? I mean, most of them don't seem to do very much.
The quango explosion isn't accidental. It's Labour's shadow regime being built in plain sight. By packing agencies with Labour loyalists on six-figure salaries, Starmer ensures that even if voters turn on him, real power stays buried inside bureaucratic fortresses beyond democracy. These aren't public servants. They're political time bombs designed to block reform, erase accountability, and funnel endless taxpayer cash into Labour's machine. Britain isn't just overtaxed under Starmer. It's being quietly occupied. Reports show more than 300 quango bosses earn more than the Prime Minister, with around 1,300 staff taking home over £100,000.
I would agree with that. And I think Labour, according to the Mail report, have created, I think is it 37
Yes.
Or 27 new quangos since the election, all of which are going to cost a load of money, which we are going to have to pay for in the form of higher taxes. Again, Labour lied during the election about not increasing our taxes. And there are two problems with these quangos. One is the financial problem that you've referred to. They cost a whole load of money, which has to be funded by our taxes. But the second problem is more of a constitutional one, in the sense that very often these quangos take decisions that frankly should be taken by democratically elected government ministers and by the democratically elected parliament. And by setting up all these quangos and giving them power, not only does that cost a fortune, but it also is not democratically accountable. And we elect, political parties stand on a manifesto, make promises, get elected. And then sometimes it turns out they can't deliver those promises because the quango has the power instead. So I think that's also fundamentally undemocratic, in addition to cost.
The damage isn't just financial, it's constitutional. In Starmer's Britain, voters no longer decide policy. Unelected, bloated quangos do. Starmer has deliberately broken democratic accountability because he knows he can't survive real public scrutiny. You can vote all you like, but in his new order, your vote means nothing. His suited cronies will run the country from the shadows, and there's little anyone can do. This is a dictatorship by bureaucracy built with your money, and it means less funding for real public services.
Run councils up and down the country, all the analysis shows deliver lower council tax and better services than Labour or Lib Dem run councils. We've seen, for example, in Birmingham, that terrible bankrupt Labour council not even collecting the rubbish piling up on the streets. Conservative councils, by contrast, are much better run financially, lower council tax, potholes get fixed quicker, the rubbish gets collected more effectively. In the borough that I represent in Parliament, Croydon, just a couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, when Labour controlled it, they spectacularly bankrupted Croydon. And the Conservative Mayor, Jason Perry, is now having to fix that. So what we're saying to the public is, as you go to the ballot box on Thursday, just keep in mind that Conservative councils deliver lower council tax and better.
Philp's comparison between Conservative-run councils and Labour strongholds, like Birmingham, offers a chilling preview of Britain's future. Under Starmer, decay spreads, communities rot, and Labour doesn't govern, it pillages. Starmer is proudly exporting this failure from councils to the entire country. Anyone who believes his promise of change should walk through Birmingham today. The stench of uncollected rubbish, broken services, and abandoned citizens is the true smell of Starmerism. It's now clear Starmer has no plan to fix Britain, only to loot it, weaken it, and hand it over to militant unions and faceless bureaucrats pulling his strings. Every pledge to protect working people stands exposed as a cruel joke. Every tax rise, public collapse, and lost job is part of a cold, calculated betrayal. Starmer isn't saving Britain. He's strip mining it taxpayer by taxpayer. And when asked to rule out more taxes, he refuses.
The Chancellor said, and I quote, "I'm clear, I'm not coming back with more borrowing or more taxes." I know that telling the truth to this House is important to the Prime Minister. So will he repeat his Chancellor's pledge now?
Mr. Speaker, we set out our position at the budget that was just set out. We're fixing the foundations. We're dealing with the £22 billion black hole that they left. I'm not going to write the next 5 years of budgets here at this dispatch box. But, Mr. Speaker, we said we wouldn't hit the pay slips of working people. We passed the budget, we invest in the future, and we...
Do you think Keir Starmer should be held personally responsible for the crushing taxes being dumped on ordinary people? After witnessing Labour's lies, broken promises, and blatant betrayal, do you honestly still trust Starmer with Britain's economy, or has he already run it into the ground? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. How long do you think Britain can survive under Starmer's regime of taxes, strikes, quangos, and broken promises? And if you want more hard-hitting videos like this, uncensored, unapologetic, and off-script, like, share, and subscribe to the channel for the latest updates on how events are really changing Britain. Until the next video, stay sharp and stay tuned.